All right.
All right, welcome to another episode of Chasing the Rings podcast. Got my homies back in the house again. What's up, G? What's up, big dude?
Fellas.
All right, so what we got popping now? We got the NFL. Last week was a very interesting week of playoffs. We had the divisional round, obviously, which had a couple blowouts, but we also had some interesting drama, a lot of drama, actually. If we take a look at how the season is rapidly winding down, let's start with the least competitive of the 4 playoff games, which was the San Francisco-Seattle game. I don't know how much of it you all watched because the first game went off late because of the overtime, but it was pretty much over from the kickoff. I mean,
yes,
returning the opening kickoff, the momentum that Seattle had at that point, and it was all downhill for San Francisco after that. Big dude, what was did that game go pretty much as you expected? I mean, all of us picked Seattle in our picks that week. Anything surprise you about that game, big dude?
Not much. I really thought that San Francisco would fight a little hard early, but it was obvious. It was great that they won, and they beat the Eagles, but it was obviously they were displaced. And that's pretty much what I have to say about them. It was a difficult day for them. It just was not a good day.
Big dude, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, because there's we lost you for a quick minute, and now there's like a buzzing. It's gone now. You still hear us?
Yes.
Okay, cool. What about you, G?
Didn't have a whole lot of insight on that game. I mean, Seattle and Kenneth Walker III, they just went up and down the field, and Darnold had his way. And their O-line on both sides of the ball, just wasn't going to be much more than that.
What about you, G, on that San Francisco-Seattle blowout? Can you hear us, G? I think we lost G for a minute there. All right, well, I'll give my take on it. Seattle, basically, like I said, was dominant from the jump, pretty much as I expected. They have a pretty significant home field advantage, one of the better home field advantages in the league. And once that defense gets going, talking about someone playing as a team, a unit, Seattle's defense is certainly that. San Francisco, all year they fought with injuries and, they played okay against the Eagles. I mean, as an Eagles fan, Steph, the Eagles, like my boys, are their worst enemies at times. So it wasn't really a product of anything so great that San Francisco had done the week before. So I think that anyone looking at this game was pretty much anticipating this to happen. Wasn't really anything different. I was actually surprised that San Francisco had beaten them earlier in the year, but that was at a point that Seattle really hadn't found its groove yet. But certainly Seattle is playing at an elite level right now. Certainly they're the number 1 seed, have home advantage moving in the next week. So no real surprise there. G, are you back with us? All right, G's still not back. So we are going to move on. Big dude, let's take a look at the Houston I'm going to put G on mute there till he gets himself fixed. Let's take a look at the Houston New England game, which was probably next on our least competitive games hierarchy here. We had this vaunted Houston defense against the Pats, and I think they pretty much held their own. CJ Stroud, as he did against Pittsburgh, really put the defense in some terrible situations with the turnovers and decision making. Certainly there were a few drop passes, but for the most part, CJ Stroud looked really rattled 2 weeks in a row. Big Dude, what's your perspective on that New England-Houston game?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Yes. Well, Stroud, it wasn't his fault. I mean, they were struggling. They struggled. Their tackles didn't play well. They had a number of people hurt. I think the first place where Stroud, he didn't have a security blanket. Schultz left in that game early. You know, when he left in that game early, that made it a lot more difficult. With the D for like I said, for New England had 5 sacks. I mean, 5 sacks. Anderson had 3, and Stroud he would make certain plays that seemed impossible, but then he just didn't seem to have his head together against the pressure. You know, somebody has to work with him to expect the pressure and to do the checkdowns differently. It just sounded like it was very difficult for him to stay in the game. I don't know how he finished the game. 20 of 47 for 212 yards. Also 4 picks. So that goes and tells you that, the way he handles the pressure is pretty, erratic. And there were just too many turnovers when you start talking about having 4 picks, turnovers in that particular game. And, their defense, Houston's defense, they held their own for, I would say, 2.5, 3 quarters in holding their own. But there's only so much that a defense is going to be able to hang in there. Their linebacker, I thought, played an outstanding game. And let me get his net number 39. Toa, is it? He's an outstanding player. But even he was in a situation where there was only so much that he was going to be able to stop. So their D-line, they gave New England trouble. Their one tackle they had, they showed him at the end of the game where everybody was smiling except the real young tackle on the Patriots. And, it's one of those things that's a learning thing, but it's better to learn when you've won. So, and looking at, like I said, New England was just better up front. I would say Chad May, played a very poised game. He never, Chad May never panicked. And the second half,
Drake May,
they even made more adjustments to put them away in the game. And after a while, the offensive line kept Chad May clean.
Drake.
Oh, did I say Chad May? Drake May. Drake May kept him clean during all other times of the game. So we'll see how that goes later. But this game was not it was competitive to a certain level. There was a lot of good hitting involved, but New England was able to pull away. I really thought that Houston may try to make a comeback, but there wasn't a whole lot more for Houston to come back from.
Yeah, CJ Stroud's performance was just not at the level it needed to be for Houston to compete. The defense did everything that it could to keep them in the game, and their offense just was not able to convert off of anything that the defense did. What was really the killer was the second half fumble by the running back from Houston, Woody.
Oh,
Woody
yes.
Marks. That fumble, I believe that was a red zone fumble as well. And that was the tough one as Houston was really about to get back into the game and would have would have made things tight, because that defense was putting a lot of pressure on May. And as good as May's been all year, he has not been that good in the playoffs thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Really need to be against the Chargers. Fortunately, he didn't have to be against Houston. So, we'll see what happens going in the next week, but New England obviously gets it done there. Next, we'll talk about the Rams and Chicago game. There was worry about the weather impact in this game, but man, were we treated to a hell of a game. Just exciting. You could feel it. It was old school football in the elements at Soldier Field. Just had that historical old school feel to it. And man, they were laying some serious wood out there. They were physical. There was intent behind it. And both of those teams, for the most part, played at a pretty high level. I was really surprised at how well the Rams played in the element. I thought for a while there they might have been in some trouble, but every time I thought that they were in jeopardy, they fought back. How did the Rams escape Chicago with a victory, big dude?
Well, I think that they gave him a healthy dose of the ground game. Williams, the Rams running back, Kyren Williams, 21 carries for 87 yards. Now, while that doesn't turn up into any all-star numbers, and let me tell you something, elements like that, that is one heck of a football game for that running back, and one heck of a game for that offensive line, that they're able to play against a good Bears defense on the road and control the ball. And he had 2 scores, Williams. So if you're able to score twice on the ground, a lot of times you're going to stay in the game and make things a little bit better and keep up the other part that's there, because, like both teams, they had a difficult time with all those things in the elements. But the Rams, they didn't seem to panic. They seemed to embrace it. Stafford didn't have, major stats. He didn't throw for any touchdowns. So that goes to show you that everyone embraced the conditions and they were able to get it done. I think I have 20 of 42 for 258 with no picks. Now, their O-line did struggle on pass protection. He was sacked 4 times. So for this old man to take the licks that he took, and and for him to stand up through all those other things and to get there the way he got there, and his running back to take him out, that was an old school type of game, and that's almost like a Johnny U type of game, him throwing kind of like a shot put and getting some of the plays there, But I think it was a good balance of who he threw the ball to. G.
Can you hear us, G? G, can you hear us? I think he's still having technical difficulties. Continue, big dude. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, it looks like he's on mute. No, that's okay. It looks like G's on mute.
Yeah, I put him on there. I put him on there.
Okay.
G, can you hear us? Yeah, he can't hear us still, but continue ahead, big dude.
So Matt Stafford showed exemplary leadership, and I think that offensive line played with them in a smash mouth way. And you got to give the Bears, I say, some credit. That last drive, I thought there was no way anything was going to happen. I mean, they go down on the field, it's 4th down, and you got a guy that's retreating. Williams is retreating. I don't know who else in the NFL, other than maybe Josh Allen, that could have thrown that pass while you're retreating, and you find a guy in the corner of the end zone. And everybody wonders, well, what happened? How come there wasn't coverage on that play? I think the defensive backs underestimated whether he could make that play. No one thought, including myself, that they'd be able to make that play for it to go in the overtime. But I think the Bears had given their best going into overtime. Wasn't bad. Like I said, the play was great to keep it going. But how much more, do you have? I mean, that was a game for the ages, and I think, as you used to say, and we said years ago, that was an instant classic. And I think the ending that we needed.
Yeah, that pass. As I'm watching it, I'm thinking he is dead to rights. I'm thinking this is done. even with that being the case, I mean, he couldn't even probably see that end of the field when he threw that ball up. That being the case, I don't understand because there were two DBs there, how both of them got so far away from the receiver, especially in the
Right.
corner, because you could have used the sideline to help you defensively. All you had to do was stay
Right.
a little bit close
Okay,
to him.
so
And it was almost like he threaded the needle on that pass into the corner from that distance when he kind of threw it up Hail Mary style. So I think we text each other. None of us had ever seen anything like that before.
No.
We've all seen a lot of football, and everybody I've talked to who has seen a lot of football, we have never seen anything like that. And especially at that time, it's such an important game. Just amazing. I think the future for Chicago is so bright. Caleb Williams is absolutely the truth, man. I felt bad for them losing the game the way they did. Obviously, it looked like Moore misjudged something on that and didn't see the pass being released because the DB had more of a jump on the ball than he did. Hated to see that game end that way, but great game nonetheless, and Chicago will definitely be back.
For sure. A good year.
The final game for us which is the first game, and I think I said discussed. I don't think that was a Freudian slip as a Bills fan. The final game for us to discuss, which was the first game of the weekend, was the Buffalo-Denver game. This game was riddled with storylines and a little bit of controversy. Hey, G, are you back with us? G, are you back with us? Well, that game was riddled with storylines. I'm gonna let you start us off with that one, big dude, because there's so much I have to say about this game.
Right. And I tell you what, we all saw why Josh Allen is always an MVP candidate. 3 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks that he probably shouldn't have thrown, but he played his tail off, And not only that, he adds to the rushing. 12 rushes for 66 yards for the big guy, which is adding to the offense and making him the threat he needs to make. He always finds a way within the context of the game and the game plan to make his legs work or to make it a little bit different so they can't play the defense the way they took it. And Cook, a great game rushing, 112 yards rushing. He did have a critical fumble loss early. I don't see Cook lose it too much. I mean, it was a great tackle actually by the linebacker on the Broncos. And all of the folks that they had were there. I would say the defense, man. The defense held the Broncos to 70 yards rushing. They held them to 70 yards rushing, and guess what? The leading rusher was Bo Nix. He was the leading rusher. That goes to show you how much work, with all the stuff that we talk about with Buffalo's D, whether they come, whether they show, the only thing that I saw, I wasn't sure how much we got. I know he played his position well, and he did a number of things to play discipline. I thought that the Bills would get a little bit more from Bosa about his play. He had 2 tackles, and I thought he'd have maybe not rack up tackles, but I thought that Bosa would have more of an impact on the game. So the Bills played well on defense, and again, all the things they did offensively, this is against the number 1 defense in the NFL. We do know that. The Broncos this year, overall, statistically, categorically, I'm pretty sure about that, are the number 1 defense, okay? And look at what they did. And they even, kept Nix down as much as it could have gotten worse. Nix, threw for 3 scores. And of course, he's out. He's finished the next week, and for the year, he's out. And, Stidham is in. So now we've got to find out, what else happens with the Bills. And we'll talk about that later with the offseason. But their linebacker, Broncos, Alex Singleton played a dominant game, 11 solos, and the defense had 3 sacks and a couple of picks. So a lot of people made plays, but the Bills did everything they could, I think, to win that game. There's always another place that we could talk about where they may have done better, but to hold a hard-nosed team to 70 yards rushing and make sure that the quarterback is the top rusher, that's some great defense that I think that Buffalo did, and they had their chances. We saw the difficult losses that they all took, and of course, I'll let you talk about. There was one controversial play, and I think that you are probably more equipped to talk about that play than I am with what it meant to the season.
All right. Before we continue on, let's see if G's back with us. G, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we can. You are back, my friend.
All right.
So we're at the point we're just breaking down the Bills-Denver game. If you want to start there, and then you can go back, and if you want to add anything to any of the other games, we had already talked about San Francisco, Seattle. Wasn't much going on there, and then we got into the Houston, New England game and the Rams to Chicago. So you could start with the Bills, Denver, and then backtrack if you choose to, or we could just continue on from there.
Yeah, just go ahead and continue. I think it'd be the best.
All right. So what were your thoughts on the Bills, Denver game?
Well,
yeah, we all watched that game together.
Start with Guru because I'm trying to find start with Big Dude. I'm trying to find my.
Big Dude just finished up, so I can go then.
Oh, okay.
Well, so much here. Trying to keep my subjectivity out of it. The story of this game really, as much as I love my quarterback, love Josh Allen, it's the turnovers that killed us in this game. And I haven't heard anyone in the analysis of this game mention the Cook fumble. Because the Cook fumble, we were on our way to going up 14-3.
I did mention it.
And I'm saying outside of us. I'm saying
they didn't talk about that.
No one talked about the shift in momentum because we go up 14-3. At that point, they have not stopped us. Our defense was doing a good job on them. They just had not stopped us at that point. And I think going up 14-3 would have been huge. So that's one. That's the first turnover. The turnover before halftime was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It was almost like a football follies type of turnover. Josh definitely has to be better with, you can't carry the ball like a loaf of bread. I know he thought he had space, but come on, you can't do that because it could easily slip out of your hand without contact carrying it like that. The second piece of that is, and I'm going to save the McDermott stuff, but coaching wise, we're getting the ball first in the second half. We're in the game on the road. We kind of dominated the first half, even though we're behind, but we're right there. You're getting the ball first. Kneel on the ball and go to the locker room. There's no need for Josh to even be put in that position and not trying to defend him. It was a careless, reckless play. But you have a quarterback that at times can be reckless with the ball. Do not put him in that situation. Kneel it, let's roll. So that's the first big coaching mistake of that game. Certainly Josh is accountable for that. Aside from that, the other turnovers, the one bad interception after we had just gotten a turnover from them was absolutely horrible. No idea what he was looking at. And the interception with the Brandon Cooks pass, which, I don't really count that in his turnover total. Those were the killers right there. A lot of people are griping about the pass interference calls. My only problem with the pass interference is that there was pass interference on us in the end zone on our possession in overtime, and there was no call. If you're not going to call it, don't call it.
That's right.
That's my only gripe. To say that there weren't pass interference calls, especially Trey White, like the audacity, like, bro, you it's pass interference. So I don't know what you're getting so upset about. That was obvious pass interference. The one on Teron Johnson, I don't think that should have been called. But that last one, that there was blatant pass interference. aside from that, it's really disappointing as a Bills fan because I felt like we were the better team in that game. We had the game where we wanted it. And, it's the same old story. I think I text you guys all of the different disappointments in the playoffs. I think it was like 6 bullet points of the 6 different ways that we've exited just in painful fashion. And it was just the same old story. It's like you, as a Bills fan, you just kind of wait for it, right? When Josh took us down in regulation, I'm like, okay, maybe it's going to be a different story today. But same old story, man. Same old story. So I'll leave it to you, G.
Yeah, so I think about this Buffalo Denver game. It was actually pretty ugly. I'm looking at my notes here, and just the sheer number of turnovers,
Mm-hmm.
pretty ridiculous. You do not expect that from either of these teams, to be quite candid, but obviously it happened. I thought the run game, for the most part, was working pretty well for both teams. Run defense for both early on was really not doing that well. And in the passing game, I thought that once Denver's run game kind of faltered, the pass game really kept them in it, and that's what really won the game. For them. I think Cam Lewis injury, that could have actually played a role. Um, did they say what actually happened to him?
No, I don't think it was anything super significant
Amazing.
because
Okay, good.
the first time did he get hurt twice? Because then he
Um,
came back in. I thought the first time he came back in afterwards, or I don't know if it was. I don't recall if it was 2 different people that got hurt, but 2 of the DBs got hurt. Might have been Cam both times, and each time he was replaced, they they scored on
right.
the person coming in. So Denver certainly did what they needed to do. Smart strategy on Sean Payton's part. Wouldn't expect
Yep,
anything less of him. But yeah, those were 2 key points for sure. G.
definitely. So, I mean, long story short, with this game, it really was one of those. Whoever could make the fewest mistakes was probably going to win. That's kind of how I summarize this game, and so which means Denver made the fewest mistakes and they were able to win. Um, we were texting like crazy because it was exciting. It was ugly, but it was still exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really enjoyed the game as a whole, even though it was ugly. But that overtime was killer.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm starting to get over it slowly but surely. But a lot of people are harping on the non-catch catch. I
Hmm.
mean, it is what it is. I mean, it was bang bang. Certainly, as a Bills fan, I want to say it was a catch, but it could easily have been called the way it was called. And I mean, there's not much else you could do about that. You have to look back at yourself and think about how did we get into that situation to begin with, because the turnovers
Yeah,
were the killers. And if you look at the points they got off the turnovers, we win the game easily.
Hmm.
We win the game
that's true.
easily. And still with all of that, had some chances to win that game. I mean, Josh misses Dawson Knox on our possession in overtime. It was a perfectly schemed play, and he just overthrew him. And I know that
Yeah,
there was some pressure in the pocket. The pocket was starting to collapse, but you got to make that throw. You're not a
Right.
rookie. You're 8, 9 years in. You got to make that throw, man. Got to make that throw.
Yep.
So, I mean, just so we could probably talk about this all day, but it'll be more of a counseling session for me than anything else. We're gonna leave it, leave it right where it is. Okay,
Man,
we'll obviously be
I felt bad for you, bro. I really, really did.
oh man,
the
I
only
mean,
I
you
was
thing that
rooting
could
really
for.
have pulled it
bothered
out.
me, the only thing that really bothered me, I was kind of over it. And then which game was it where they had the simultaneous possession? Wasn't it the Houston game the next day? Houston, New England, there was a simultaneous possession and it went to the receiver, it went to the receiver.
I
Yeah,
don't
Or
have
was
that
that
one
the
in my
Rams?
notes.
Or was that the Rams Chicago? There was another game where there was a similar situation, and I was like, wow, well, I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But anyways,
How about this? Buffalo jumped off. This is what I wanted to touch on. Buffalo jumped, got Denver to jump with 37 seconds left, and I honestly thought that okay, Bills got this. You remember that?
hold on, say that again.
It was 37. You know what? I didn't put it which quarter that was, so
You mean
never
when
mind.
it was 3rd and 5, right? And we got the penalty on. They got a penalty, and we got the first down.
Yeah, it was 37 seconds
Yeah,
if I
I
remember
thought
that.
we had them too. Then I
I
thought
thought
we
you
had them
had them.
too. Yeah, I did too. I did.
Yep, I thought you had them. And Prater, I will say the kicking game was good for you all. It seems they
Yeah, he
gave y'all
is.
a chance.
Mhm.
I thought that was going to be our downfall because the kicking game had been in such turmoil all year, and Prater wasn't healthy. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me that this is going to come down to a field goal from an injured kicker from 50
Mhm.
yards. I'm like, there's no way we're making this. And then I
Right,
started to feel like, well, maybe this is our year.
right.
Right.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
I mean, because Josh took us down as much as he did bad to put us in that position. 55 seconds left. I'll be honest with you. I had no doubt he was taking us down for at least a field goal attempt.
Oh, definitely.
Hmm.
But I think a lot of people would think, well, he's played so horribly. Here we go and choke again. And no one's mentioned that he took us down with 55 seconds. We could have easily lost in regulation and that been that.
Yeah,
So
Hmm.
exactly.
while he made those mistakes, I was happy with how he pulled himself out of it. He didn't pout. I for sure thought when he got sacked from the blind side to start the second half that he was just going to unravel.
Hmm.
Yeah,
First
he
off,
got
first I thought
coated
he
up
was
on,
dead
man.
because he wasn't moving. First I
He
thought
took
he was
a
out
hit.
because he was flat. But
Whoo, boy.
yeah,
Oh my
that was
goodness,
a rough one, man. That was a rough one. That was a real rough one.
that was hard to take.
Yeah, I
But
was rooting for your boys, Guru.
well, we're gonna get into some more discussion of my boys as we get into this coaching stuff in a little bit. But let's take a look at these conference championship games coming up on Sunday. In the first game, the afternoon game, we got the Pats at the Broncos. Again, that's just how they compared on the key statistical areas throughout the season. Um, you can see there that the sack total differential. I think the Broncos they did lead the league in sacks. They're first in sacks. In all the other areas, they're fairly even, slight edge to the Pats on points scored and yards per game, but it's pretty much even. Now, certainly, Denver has an issue because they're going to be playing their backup quarterback, but you still have the number one defense. You're at home. Um, what are your thoughts on this game and who are you picking?
So I read that Stidham hasn't started since 2024.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what type of rust this young man is about to show us. But more likely than not, he's going to have a lot of rust. And I honestly think that that is going to be the issue is that he cannot. He's a backup with no experience at this particular point, and I don't know how much of a defense can actually make up for that. So I
Mhm.
believe Drake May is going to run, and the Pats run game is going to have you on your heels, and then he's going to just be taking shots downfield. Whereas I think Denver's defense is going to try to overcompensate and going to get caught.
Mhm. And
Does
yeah,
that
and if
make
you're looking absolutely, and if you're looking at New England's key offensive categories, they're second in points, they're third in yards.
sense? Hmm.
Um, something's going to have to give there. And Denver can be run on. I mean, Buffalo exhibited that. Cook had what about a buck 50?
Hmm.
Mhm.
So it's not like you can't run on them. I expect Travion Henderson might be a variable in that game.
I'm telling you, yes. It's going to be an interesting. I hope Stidham actually pulls a Tom Brady, get his shot, and come out there and shock people.
Hmm.
But Tom Brady, that's a rare one right there. So I wouldn't expect that to happen, but I hope it
Hmm.
it will happen just to make it a quality game.
Got you. Where you at on this one, big dude?
Well, I mean, the Broncos are obviously are going to have to do their best to protect Stedham. He's like I said, he hasn't played, but short passing game running. They're going to have to keep the ball. But this could be a low scoring game because both teams are going to have to do the same thing to win. They're going to have to keep the ball away from the other team. And of course, with the defense that the Broncos have, they're going to have to get field position. They're going to have to get some turnovers, and they're going to need to get to Drake May, especially on blitzes, so we don't leave the corners in a bad way. And I know that they got some bad boys there. They have a couple that could be suspect, but that's especially on a blitz. Broncos have been, from what I saw, they can be blitz happy, but they have to get to Drake May. You can't let him get any of those important passes or get field position. You need to get the field position from the turnovers. And all in the Pats, they have to definitely keep the Broncos D line off of Drake May and run the ball and get to the quarterback to see how much they can rattle him. And the offensive tackles last week, and I say this is where I give the Bills credit. For sure. Last week they put their tackles in a bad way. So I would say that this will be the first game where I think they'll start off on their heels. But I think that Butte has to have a big game. That will change things. So I think it'll be a close game. They both are going to have to keep their quarterbacks clean. And Denver is going to have to run the ball better. Now, I don't know that they will. I think at some point the Pats will go 8 in the box and dare Denver to pass. And I think that's where the Pats get the Broncos.
Yeah, for me, this is a painful one because obviously I don't want the Patriots to win.
Right.
But being our division rival, but I definitely see where they have a lot of advantage in this game. They should be able to run the ball on Denver, as I mentioned earlier. I think their defense lucked out this week because Stidham is not real mobile, even though I recall him being fairly mobile at Auburn, but apparently he has not been that mobile in his time, the short time that he's gotten to play in the NFL. I think New England's defense looked better than it really is last week because CJ Stroud was so out of sorts. So I don't think I don't think they're that good. I watched this team a lot this year, and I've seen a lot of teams move the ball up and down the field on them. Their defense just was able to make plays against those teams when they had to, but there was a lot of teams that were able to move the ball on them. I think you cannot blitz Drake May. I think if Denver blitzes Drake May a lot, they're going to have problems because he will use his legs. Now, the one thing that I had stated earlier, G, before you got back on, is that Drake May hasn't played that well in either of these playoffs games. And in fact, Houston really made him look bad last week. And I think Denver's defense has the opportunity to do the same thing with him. I think what's going to happen, flipping over to the Denver side, what's going to determine this game for them is what can Stidham do offensively, because their defense should be able to keep them in the game for a little bit. But eventually, Stidham is going to have to produce. I want to pick it makes sense to pick New England in this game. I mean, it just seems so lopsided. But there's something about what Sean Payton said about Stidham, what even Josh McDaniels, who's the New England OC, said about Stidham, because Stidham was drafted by the Patriots. There's something about this game that doesn't smell right. It's too easy. It shouldn't even be a contest with a backup quarterback. I have a feeling we're going to see a Jeff Hostetler type situation when they made their run and beat my boys in the Super Bowl. I have Denver winning this game somehow, some way. Don't ask me how, but I'm picking Denver to win this thing.
Okay.
I don't think New England's quite. I think New England hasn't made mistakes throughout the year, and I think this is going to be one of those games where a little bit of that youth may come into play. I know it's not Mile High Stadium anymore, but it's always going to be Mile High Stadium to me. And there's something about that place once they get going. I think some of the guys on New England might get a little bit rattled. The X factor for New England is Vrabel, but I'm picking Denver, and I'm gonna leave it.
Now, are you so confident that you're willing to put money on it?
I probably will bet Denver because I do use DraftKings. I haven't looked at the spreads or anything, but I'll probably take a chance and bet Denver.
Whew, boy, that's gonna probably be a huge spread.
It's not that big of a spread. I thought it
Even with
was.
Stidham? Are you serious?
I thought it was maybe 5.5, perhaps. What I heard, but I can check real quickly. I don't think the spread. I don't think it's a touchdown. I do not think it's a touchdown. I'm telling you, this New England team, they're not what everybody thinks, and they might skate through. It's 4.5 points.
4.5.
Yep.
Wow, they
And
must think that New England's defense is going to score.
That's what I say.
You mean Denver's defense?
Yeah, Denver's defense to keep it close.
Well, think about this. Think about how when Houston got those turnovers last week against New England, where they got them, and in a few situations, Houston was situated nicely, and again, just offense couldn't do anything with it. I think Sean Payton is good enough and smart enough, and I cannot stand Sean Payton. I even have to say this, but I think he's a good enough coach that he can have. I think he'll have this guy ready. I think he'll have this dude ready.
Well,
I mean, it's possible, but
yeah. But I mean, having New England on the edge, especially if they go against, what they did last week to get to CJ Stroud. I know it's a different situation. I'm just not sure that Stidham can get away. I mean, it's almost like we haven't gotten to it yet, but, I liken him to the younger version of Stafford. He can move his feet and all. Is this guy able to get away from when they start bringing pressure? They're not going to do it right away, but when they start getting pressure, we'll see just how much he's going to be able to hit his his checkdowns and his quickies.
He might not have to. He might not have to. I mean, they said that's not part of his game. That's where Denver misses out. Bo Nix obviously a little bit of run in his game, but I'm not sure he's going to have. I think Sean's going to dial something up. He'll dial something up to keep him in it.
What are his strengths?
Really smart, pretty accurate passer, good decision maker, they say, but I probably know about
as much. He ain't grown in 700 days.
Hey, they said that so when Josh McDaniel, he was in New England with Josh McDaniel. When Josh McDaniel got the Raiders job, he took Stidham with him, and there was a reason he took him with him. So don't ask me. I mean, doesn't have a good body of work, but why would you take a guy like that? Why would you care about having a guy like that on your roster, backup quarterback, going to your new team? It's got to be something about this guy. And even immediately after, and of course, a coach is going to say the right things. He's not going to say, damn, we're in trouble now. But there was something. Sean Payton looked like he had swallowed the canary in the press conference when he's talking about his quarterback just broke his ankle and talking about Stidham will be ready and y'all going to be surprised. When people say stuff like that, my antennas go up, and he could have just been talking ish, but
yeah,
I think he's going to have him ready. They might not pull it out, but I don't think it's going to be what everybody thinks it's going to. I mean, Vegas, I bet all year, and Vegas is always right there with these point spreads, man. And I'll watch it during the week to see if it goes up and down, but they're right there with these spreads.
So they have Denver winning still.
No, they have the Pats by 4.5.
Oh, okay. They just have it close.
Mm-hmm. And the
Right.
over and under,
I don't.
the over and under is only 42.5.
Yeah, you see, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of points scored on that. In fact, I'll be very surprised. I mean, if they get a touchdown pass, it'll be a close one. Him making an explosive play, I see. I just don't see that.
Well, this is what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to Denver's defense against New England's offense, and who's going to win that consistently. And ask yourselves, do you think, and forget about the wide receiver situation, because we know that whose offense is, do you think New England's offense is better or Buffalo's offense?
Buffalo.
Well,
I mean,
I think Buffalo has more talent, but
I would say Buffalo.
So you'd say Buffalo's offense is better than New England's, right? So Denver did a pretty decent job with us when they had to. First-time quarterback, and I know he's cool as a cucumber so far. First-time quarterback on a road game with these stakes. Defense wins championships, and I'm going to stick with it. I just think that they're going to come up with the way.
Well, it's going to be interesting. What's your DraftKings name? Boo Boo the Fool?
Hey, let me tell you something. I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but
No, don't say it. Don't say it. Leave it alone.
Right. Let's just say that I do pretty well.
Okay, well, cool.
Especially college football.
You know what, man? I should have been playing. I went back
You
and
should
look at some of my picks. And I'm like, dang, I could have made some loot on quite a few of those.
And and what I do is I put some funds in there. I think I put some funds in there in, when did we move from Jersey? 2022. And I just been using those funds. I've never had to put any money back into it. I'm not gonna end up being Gamblers Anonymous, stuff like that. What I can afford to lose or whatever, but I haven't been on that side of it. So college football,
gamble responsibly.
Yep, always gamble responsibly.
Right.
So college football is my big breadwinner, but NFL is tricky.
If you're gambling, seek help if you feel you're gambling too much.
Oh, absolutely. When you
go PSA, so we don't get in trouble.
Absolutely. It's recreational purposes only. Nobody misses a meal because of it.
You can't lose it, don't do it.
Yep, that's right. That's the rule right there. If you can't lose it, don't do it. But this, I don't know. It'll be interesting to keep our eye on the spread for this game as the week progresses. It should go up, but we'll see.
Okay, it'll be interesting. So I can't wait to see if you're right.
And there's another variable about this guy too. And I know I had texted to you all, but I'll share it publicly on here. The connection between Stidham and Nix, both at Auburn at the same time. Stidham was the quarterback when Nix came for his high school visit to Auburn. So I don't know if there's some type of advantage with them being that close in terms of him being able to help Stidham prepare for this. I mean, you still got to have the physical tools to be able to do it, but there has to be some advantage to them having been in a quarterback room together before this and having been together this last couple years, 2-3 years.
Well, I'm sitting here reading. It's like the players. Now I don't know if this is just marketing and rallying around your QB, but the players all seem to be optimistic. Offensive line, they're like, we're ready to protect him based on what I'm seeing here. So we'll see. I don't think Denver is going to just lay down. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see.
Allegedly, he's good enough to start for some other teams. Allegedly. Now
we will definitely see.
Yeah, we about to find out. We about to find out, Garrett.
Yeah. But I wonder if Indiana would have taken him though. I mean, they had to go get a 44-year-old quarterback. So I don't know.
Oh, Indianapolis. Yeah, I don't know about all of that. I mean,
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis brought in a proven 44-year-old quarterback, not some bench
Yeah.
warmers.
What about Cincinnati?
Yeah, same thing, Flacco. I mean, I'm
I'm
not
like, I
gonna.
wonder why they did. If he's that good, why they didn't go? Well, they could have called up Denver, and
I
Denver
about to
could.
say they might not have let him go. Yeah,
Right,
you ain't.
that could have happened.
Yeah. So,
Oh, well, I don't wish bad on people, but hey, we'll see.
well, and most of me is hoping that Denver can do it because New England's a rival, and I don't want to see them coming back and winning Super Bowls again. That would make the offseason even more painful. So, all right, our nightcap game, the Rams at Seattle. Oh man, let me tell you, I don't know if y'all saw the last game these two played on Thursday night, but that
Watch
was some of the
highlights.
best. Man, some of the best football I had watched, like just two heavyweights. And the difference maker that Thursday night was basically a 2-point conversion that Seattle attempted that was a fumble, and the Rams didn't have enough sense to recover it just in case it was a fumble. Seattle recovered it. Charbonnet recovered it in the end zone. They did a review. It was a fumble, and the 2-point conversion counted. And that's how the Rams lost that game. So that's how close these two teams are. Nothing really jumps out in terms of the statistical comparison other than the turnover differential, which is one thing, but it's a big thing when Sam Darnold's your quarterback.
Right.
So I'm going to pause there. G, you want to start us off with your analysis on this one?
So Seattle, top special teams, scoring defense, run game. They're on fire. They have a lot of momentum. I think they actually are playing with a bit of a chip on their shoulders. But Donald has that injury, so I mean he seemed to be all right, but you just never know. They could have just pumped him up with some painkillers for all we know.
True.
Los Angeles, arguably Stafford might end up being the MVP this season. Puka Nakua, he's going to always do what he's going to do. Now, their defense isn't as highly rated as Seattle, but they're still in the top 10, so they're not rolling over for anybody. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. Just you put up the numbers here. I don't really see that much of a difference. But then even if I step back and I think about the psychological things, previous meetings, momentum, I don't know, man. It's going to be a good game. I do know that. The winner, I cannot call it.
Your indecisiveness is exactly how close these teams are.
Yeah. It's kind of exasperating that I can't call it because I like to at least be able to go in with a call, but this one, it's a tough one. Big dude.
What are you thinking, big dude?
Oh, well, kind of 50-50 here. I mean, it sounds like from what I saw, it looks like both teams have to do the same thing. And both teams, they can't give up on the run, especially LA. LA may struggle with it in the beginning because Seattle's just got those dogs on defense, and LA's tough, but Seattle's got there's about 7 of them are real dogs. And they have to both pass protect at a high level, especially LA, because Stafford can't get away. He can't. Okay. And of course, LA has to get the dart to Darnold. And of course, they have to be able to run the ball, make the game plan simple, and protect the football, and let Kenneth Walker III grind it up. Now, between all those, I think, again, like you said, it's going to be the turnover battle. But I think it's going to be unique where I don't think everything is going to be dictated by typical football. I think there's going to be some plays in here. and I'm not sure about a special teams play, but I think there won't be a lot of explosive plays, but there'll be one, I think, that is going to really turn the tide of the game. Now, the easy choice for me would be Seattle, because Seattle, I think, is playing the best football. But there's something about the Rams' journey that excites me. And the Rams getting through that win last week, I think they've been put in a different place. And I think it's their time. And I'm going to say the Rams probably on a walk-off field goal.
Okay. Well, I mentioned that Thursday night game earlier, the 38-37, Seattle winning that. Super, super evenly matched teams. I feel like Stafford will get the Rams home somehow. This Seattle defense is really, really good, but I think this is where Darnold hurts them. The Rams defense played pretty good against Caleb Williams last week, much better than I expected. And I think that they'll continue to play at that level in this game. I think they'll turn Darnold over a couple times. And I'm a big Sam Darnold fan. I loved him at USC. Been wishing him nothing but the best. I'm glad to see him having the success he had and able to get out of New York. But
yes.
But I think it's the Rams' time. I had picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl in the beginning of the year, and I'm not backing off of it now. I think the Rams find a way to win it. I don't know how they're going to win it, but they're going to find a way. Probably the team, I'm going to say turnovers in this one, just like most of these games. You win the turnover battle, you win this game. I do not expect it to be as high scoring as the last encounter between these two, where there was 75 total points scored. And in fact, let me see what they have on this one. 46.5 is the over under. Seattle favored by 2.5.
Oh.
So I am going to
even LA is kind of like, ooh, this is going to be tight. But they're thinking they're going to score a decent clip, though.
But I'm
so
going.
I'm going to be like a 27-24 game?
Yeah, something like that.
That's what I was thinking.
So here's the thing. If I think LA Rams defense is stout enough to get to Darnold a few times. And I'm just always afraid that he could re-injure that muscle. And honestly, I don't believe Seattle is going to be able to stop Stafford at the short passing game, because Puka Nacua, he's a route running beast. So I just don't think they're going to be able to stop that. And I think that's going to really keep, particularly that second level, on his heels. So I can't call it.
It'll be interesting to see what type of game Sean McVay calls. I think the Rams don't run the ball enough, and they have two good running backs.
Yes, they do.
Something else we did not talk about. Charbonnet is out.
What?
Oh, number 26 is out.
Yep, he is out. So it's just Kenneth Walker's show. Kenneth Walker's good enough, but I feel like Charbonnet's been playing better lately.
Oh, he's been playing. He's more than solid.
So I forgot about that. That's a key loss potentially.
Yeah, that's like the old school Lightning, I guess, and Thunder. But I think you got Thunder and Thunder with both of them.
In fact, that makes me feel even better about my pick. Actually, now that I remembered that makes me
that makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's definitely a difference, a real difference.
So
there's a part of me thinks that there's a part of me pulling for Seattle. I can't call it. I
wish they both could go to the Super Bowl, but unfortunately, they're on the same side of the house, because I like both teams.
I can't call this one.
That's right. Well, Seattle used to be in the AFC, so that would have been possible a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm a big Matthew Stafford fan. I liked him since he was in college. I like Nacua. I like Devontae Adams. I like Darnold on the other side. It's gonna
You
be
know,
that.
man, I take me back 2 years ago. Puka Nakua, he's just sitting out there on the waiver wire in fantasy football. I see him, and I say, you know what? Let me see if this is real. I'll wait. I'll wait another game to see if this is real, and lost him.
Yeah, none of
I,
us knew. None of us
I,
knew.
I'm like, man, because that dude would have been a keeper.
Oh, he was a killer for me the last 2 years,
Mhm.
but he gets hurt sometimes too. Like he left a lot of games on me in the middle of the game. I'm thinking I'm killing somebody, and I'm like, why did my score just stop? And then it's like, oh, Nakua went out. That's the only thing
Ah,
with him in fantasy. That's the only thing. He's either gonna get you some high points or he's going out in the first quarter and he's not